god, I didn't mean to join for glory. Yeah, I actually called you on Discord already, Stas. So I'm just waiting for you to join the call.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, I'm good.
All right. So I'm gonna say right away, I'm probably not gonna do the Ryu Ditto for super long if I'm trying to pick out habits. Just because of how volatile that matchup is.
That matchup, that's a mess. That one's a mess.
Yeah, but I'll definitely start off with the Ryu Ditto and see what little things I can pick out. There's probably gonna just be like, honestly, I think like your neutral's really good from what I've seen, so it's probably just gonna be like punish game stuff and conditioning stuff. But we'll see how things go.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. There's always stuff to learn. There's always things that people can point out.
Yeah.
I've got a room on.
Oh, okay. I'll join yours then.
I like using forward smash when they're in the corner too, but like sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, so I think the first big thing that is like pretty imperative is just like being able to punish off of one up tilt.
Yeah, that's a big I'm not too good at that unless I like already know that the up tilt's gonna work. It's hard to I need to work on being more comfortable getting it in neutral.
Yeah, so that's part of it is I guess it's easy to convert off of one up tilt when you know that the up tilt's gonna connect. But reacting to up tilt is like possible.
It's a big thing.
Yeah,
it's possible and it's really good to do do that. I should work on that.
Yeah, so that's something that I'd say is like pretty imperative, and it's something that is like kind of hard to work on without like just doing it in a real match. But I'd say like to try and learn that, just don't just like play with people, play friendlies, like, and whenever you're playing, if you don't connect, basically how I would do it is if you're going for an up tilt conversion, only do one up tilt regardless of whether you think you can hit it off of that one up tilt, and then until you are comfortable with converting off of it, force yourself to only do one up tilt. Because like once you start doing like 2 up tilts, like players, when you start going up the ladder, yeah, exactly. So even if you're like
a lot more,
even if you have to like give up on up tilt Shoryu for a little bit and just go for things like up tilt strong up tilt, or up tilt up air, or like even up tilt grab, that's something that I think you should go for until you're comfortable doing it, because it's much better than doing 2 or 3 up tilts into a Shoryu. So yeah, I'd say
the Shoryu specifically though, it's not too hard, because I can, instead of just Shoryu, you can just do up tilt jab Shoryu, and it's really easy to get the jab off of one up tilt. So that one isn't too hard for me.
I mean, it depends where they DI after the first up tilt.
Yeah.
Some people are ready for it on the first up tilt.
Yeah.
So like even with like regular up tilt Shoryu, I had to learn up tilt jump Shoryu, even with single up tilt, and up tilt B reverse jump Shoryu. And I've had to use that in tournament against people. Abba is really good at SDIing the first up tilt, and I guess probably being Mewtwo helps that a little bit too. But I always have to like jump B reverse true Shoryu him. But yeah, I'd say basically just getting into that position where you can comfortably convert off of a single up tilt into whatever works for the DI off of reaction is just like extremely important. And just kind of like knowing your own limits as far as like actual mechanical inputs, because there was a point in time when I was like, I'd get really ahead on some people, and then I'd like hit them with an up tilt, and I'm like, oh, there's a Shoryu is confirmed here, and I'd like go for the Shoryu and I'd miss it, and then I'd end up just like dying for it, and I got like knocked out of like 3 tournaments in a row, like way lower than I wanted to be, just because I was like going for this stuff, but I wasn't actually like comfortable hitting it mechanically. So I just went back and I was like, okay, I'm just not going to do up tilt Shoryu in those situations. I'm just going to do like up tilt strong up tilt, like even up tilt back air in some of those situations where they have a lot of hit stun, and just get like safe kills. And that just brought up my results like a large amount. Just knowing what you can and can't get for each percent on each character. Not necessarily like what is true.
Yeah. Supposed to be a grab?
Yeah, I have that happen. Oh, that was bad.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's technically a situation where I would have died earlier just by that first up tilt. So yeah, punish game is like always something that I think like Ryu should be working on a lot, but that's definitely not like the only thing, you know?
Yeah. Ryu, kind of, he needs to get those super big hits in to make up for the fact that he's not going to be getting a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the matchup, of course. I think there are some matchups that he can just, like, play 50-50 with, like, as far as spacing and just using, like, back air and, like, strong tilts and stuff. But, like, for the most part, yeah, you want to get those punishes when you can.
Against a lot of the more, like the characters with better neutrals, the more top-tier threats, a lot of them, it's harder to get an opening. Like, characters like Sheik or Cloud.
Yeah.
You really want to be hitting them as hard as possible. Oh boy!
Yeah, so I'm not seeing like anything like awful so far, as in like in terms of like bad habits, besides like maybe picking options that aren't like the best in certain situations, as far as things that aren't safe on hit and things that situations where I'm going for things that aren't technically true and you're not ever giving me a reason to be afraid of them.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like, whenever I'm down throwing you, I'm just going for, like, up tilt or up air stuff, and you're always either air dodging or jumping, and neither of those really get you out of it. But you could just be, like, shoryuing to break it, and...
I usually try to be, like, a bit more liberal with that, just as a personal thing, but yeah, no, it's something I need to really, like, make people think about more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even if you're never going to use it, just putting it out there once just to force your opponent to think about it is, like, super important.
Yeah, because, like, they think I'm going to do it, they let go of the combo, and then I'm not getting smacked around anymore.
Yeah. So, like, putting focus out there once, putting Shoryu out there once, even in positions where you don't think it'll work, is something that's, like, really important. And then the other thing is just being really careful about going for things like... shoot, what happened? Was it back air that wasn't safe on hit? Oh no, it was rising up air from ledge. Yeah. So just like things like that might not be safe on. Yeah.
Yeah, you're at 0, so like.
So just being a little bit aware of that stuff. Because that's those situations where you were getting where you were getting punished the hardest, or taking more punish than you needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in matchups like this, I think you have to be really, really careful about just like posturing. In the sense that like that first stock things were like relatively close. I was at like 65 and you were getting like close to the max range or max rage. And I could tell that you were like just super fishing for up tilt. And I think that in those situations, you either have to kind of guard what you're looking for a little bit better than you were. Like not throw out the up tilts and not show that that's what you're looking for by being like super run around and shield. So you either have to guard it better so that it's less predictable, or you have to be comfortable with going for different options. So things like falling Nair Shoryu, even like weak fair Shoryu, you know, that sort of stuff, and be comfortable with setups going for those options. Because once you face people who are very good at avoiding that up tilt Shoryu, and if that's kind of like a crutch that you rely on for kills, it becomes like super hard. I haven't seen like enough of your gameplay to know if that's like something that you super rely on, but so far as like kills go, it seems like it's something that
you kind of got the idea there of what I need to fix.
So I guess that like kind of like part of that is kind of like punish game, but it's also just like making sure that if you part of it's conditioning, part of it's punish game, then another part is just like being able to read the situation and know how you're gonna have to kill. Like I play with Captain L a lot, right? And him as Pikachu, like I'm just like the odds of me getting an up tilt or a down tilt Shoryu on him are like almost 0. So it becomes, for me, it's like, okay, I'm gonna try and get him to like 120 or 130 and then kill him with a back air, like a strong tilt. But then there are also games where he plays like super evasive, and I have to like realize that if I just keep fishing for back airs and stuff, I'm not gonna get anything accomplished. So rather than searching for that kind of stuff, I get him to like 180 and then just kill him with a throw. And it kind of feels shitty as Ryu to be like, okay, I have to get my opponent to that high of a percent. But depending on the opponent and depending on the openings they're giving you, you sometimes just like have to give that up. Of course, be ready for the other like potential openings that you could get for earlier kills, but like sometimes giving up on like fishing for them and taking the smaller openings you can get will lead you to earlier kills just by if that makes any sense. You'll actually get earlier kills than you would fishing for the one singular option.
Yeah. I'll be able to kill them without them having just completely picked me apart.
Yeah. Oh, that was a miss input on the wall jump. That's okay though.
Yeah.
So that worked better for you as far as just kind of like not necessarily fishing for the up tilt so much. It made the times when you were actually fishing for the it made the times when you were actually fishing for the up tilt like much less apparent, and it made it less easy for me to kind of get around. And then there was something else I was going to mention. Oh, just when you're in combos, it's kind of hard to read, but a lot of times you're coming out of combos really, really aggressively and then getting punished for it. And I know that it's super, like, it's super tempting that when you're in and that close to somebody, you're just like, oh, this is where my opening could be. And like 95% of the time, your opponent is going to know that situation better than you do and have a frame advantage because they're comboing you. And I'd say just like be really, really careful about situations where opponents will go for resets with you just like landing on top of them. It's a bad habit that a lot of players have, which is just trying to like immediately start their own combo out of a different, like out of an opponent's combo by like landing on top of them. And just be really, really careful about that because that's something that I am seeing.
Okay.
And then in kind of the same vein, but a little bit different, this is more Bayo specific. If she's comboing you, you want to stay as close to her as you can when it comes to like falling with her. When you get out of her combos, because your SDI has been good enough that you're getting out of the combos, you want to make sure that you're falling with her in order to focus attack her on the landing. Because Ryu has the privilege of being able to basically charge 2 smash attacks as he's falling, which is the first one being the actual focus attack, and the second one being during the stun of the focus attack. But most of the time when you're getting out of the combos, you're like going to almost the opposite side of the stage, and then not actually getting a punish on the landing leg. So that's something to think about too.
All right. That was meant to be a Shoryu,
Oh.
but I messed it up. My hands are weird.
Yeah, so that was... I'm pretty sure I was dead if I missed that.
Yeah.
But that's just being like really careful to
I could have
mix up your
SDI'd
GI.
a little harder, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have SDI'd a little harder, but I didn't want to bother.
One thing that's like... I'd say that you need to do a little bit more against Bayo is just be really careful about her up B at ledge. You kind of just have to like stand back a little and let her get to the ledge itself, and then kind of like push in with a shield or kind of just like walk forward. Because there have been a lot of times when I've just kind of like held down at the ledge and either pulled you off with Witch Twist 1, or just kind of like disrupted you with Witch Twist 2. So that's something to be really careful about as well. Then also just like the drop down up air from ledge is something that you're doing a lot, and I haven't been punishing it like super hard, but I'd say it's something that like is very high risk, high reward. Because if someone like Bayo catches you out of that and you don't have your jump off stage, like it should basically just be death. Yeah. So just be careful about how often you're using that option. And then there was one other thing that I was thinking about that game. Oh, there was just a time that at 0% you back threw me rather than down throwing me.
Oh.
But that's like little stuff. Nice. Yeah, so I think like for the most part, the characters it seems like you struggle with are like the aggressive characters. It's definitely like zoners. And I understand that playing against zoners is definitely harder to do on Wi-Fi, but there are a lot of I'd say your biggest issue against zoners is that you're just overcommitting into their space, and not forcing them to commit first. So, for example, in like that game against Cloud, there were a lot of situations where I was like just out of your burst range, yet you kind of like pushed into you were pushing into my burst range without being in your own burst range, and then just getting hit for it. So like just being in back air range without actually being in range for like a dash grab or like a dash attack from Ryu. And I was giving up the space for you to take, like as far as stage control. It's the only way that Cloud does those like safe moves as far as like retreating back air, retreating there, that kind of stuff, is if he moves backwards. But then rather than you actually just taking that stage control and progressing forwards, you were just getting hit by that stuff. And I like to call that stuff like the free stuff, because for the zoners, that's the like no risk stuff, right? That's the stuff where that they don't have to worry about making a mistake. They just, you know, they do their safe stuff. But where you really want to catch those characters out is when they have to like actually commit first. And how you do that is you just stay out of their burst range, slowly progress forwards. You can kind of like throw out hitboxes if you want, but like they're going to be more for like scaring your opponent more than anything. And then when they get the corner back, they'll have to act first. Or when they have their back to the corner, then they have to act first. Either push you back to take stage control, or get over your head, or, you know. And that's the kind of stuff that you're going to want to punish as Ryu against those kind of like zoning characters. And I know you probably have that concept in your head a little bit, like at least a little bit, but it's something that you just kind of really have to like drill into your thought process, and just like make sure that you're not getting hit by the quote unquote free stuff. Good punish.
Oh.
No jump?
Yeah, no jump. Wasn't keeping track of it, I guess.
Yeah. But do you kind of understand, like, what I was... And, yeah, so just, like, try and make sure that you're thinking about that when you're playing against zoners. Because because there will be a lot of characters that kind of like same concept applies to. Like for example, Bayo, when she's just kind of like back airing and retreating back. Sometimes the way to properly punish that sort of option is just by straight up like letting them give up the space and then actually taking it. There were times in this game where you would avoid the back airs and stuff, and I would back up to like kind of like make sure that they were safe, but then you weren't really progressing forwards to take away that stage control from me. So you just want to be like super careful and super aware of your own kind of threat range and how much stage control you're taking. Like I'm not feeling afraid of like you taking my stage control right now. Right now I'm kind of feeling like I can just kind of go wherever I want. And what you want to do is you want to make them feel trapped at the edge so that they can have to do something a little bit more risky, and that's what you punish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even think that was like the best sweet spot.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm guessing that was a misinput?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can see how that matchup really just comes down to, like, can you punish Cloud coming out of the corner?
Yeah.
Because he'll put his own back to the corner and charge limit, and then that whole time I was, like, going above you, and I could tell that you were trying to fish for an up tilt. And yet again, that's, like, kind of where being comfortable with other kill confirms kind of comes in. Because when people are jumping around...
Yeah, I'm not super comfortable punishing Cloud's downer with anything other than trying to power shield it.
Yeah, so either like running back and back airing it, like just getting up and punishing it from the side, or just stuffing it before it comes out are things that are really, really good. And that's like what weak nair is really, really good for. Or even just like rising fair.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a situation where, like, as I was talking about earlier, like, being comfortable with other kill options is something that's really, really important. Because once you kind of get streamlined into that one option of killing, catching Cloud with, like, an up tilt Shoryu when he's using, like, auto-cancel down airs and, like, naring over your head and stuff is, like, super hard. So you really have to be comfortable sometimes going for other things like back airs or even just, like, strong jabbing, or strong up tilting those downers.
All right.
Nice.
It's not very often I find myself with an opportunity to actually, like, get that on Fox. So when I get it, I'll take it.
No, that was unfortunate. Yeah, I think for the most part, what you're doing in this matchup is, like, good. I'm not seeing anything, like, awful. I'd say just, like, the biggest thing is just, like, punish game is where you're missing out. You're getting, like, good openings, and your, like, pressure is, like, pretty decent. But I think as far as, like, pressure on most characters, as far as, like, kind of, like, making them feel smothered in the corner, as well as just, like, making sure that your punishes are where they need to be, is, like, the big thing I'd work on. So part of that is not always ending combos in ways that reset things to neutral and ways that will keep them, like, closer to you. So for example, sometimes, like, rather than if I have a nair and I know I can't get, like, I can't, like, continue a nair string, rather than ending it with, like, a forward air and just getting the percent, I'll just end it with a nair and just force them into the corner and then just stay at kind of like a frame advantage. So that's one part to think about, and then the other part to think about is just making sure that you're able to react to the punish opportunities rather than kind of, like, predicting the combos, kind of reacting to the combos. Because Ryu has enough hit stun that you definitely have time to react to the combos and then, or react to the hit stun and combo appropriately. And just make sure that you're doing that rather than predicting, because that'll get you much better combos.
Okay.
Nice, very good.
And I'm getting beat up. Yeah, okay.
Nice. So yeah, the big thing for that is just making sure that when you strong down tilt Tatsu, that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. You could strong down tilt Tatsu to get the... Well, not even so much that it's unsafe on hit. That's something that is important, but like less of that and also more of just that once you hit the Tatsu, you're both back into neutral and you've effectively ended your own advantage state by using it. So in that situation, I'd always say either strong down tilt to like grab or even strong down tilt to like nothing. What I've been doing a lot of the time is like strong down tilting them, and if they don't jump, then it's a free grab. And if they jump, now they're without their jump and they're in disadvantage state still, and I have the opportunity to actually like continue like punishing them for things. So I'd say that's kind of like one situation where you have to be really careful about giving your opponent neutral back and kind of like trying to extend disadvantage for as long as you can.
Okay.
Oh, a little bit too far. Shoot, what was I gonna say? There was something that came on out. Shoot, I actually don't remember what it was. We're getting pretty close to the hour here. We'll do one more, and then I'll answer any like final questions and kind of just like recap.
Okay. Yeah, and then I gotta go eat too. So good timing.
All right, awesome. Nice. Oh. A little bit of jitters on Wi-Fi. That's okay.
Yeah, that happens.
What was I gonna say? What's it called? Yeah, no, so basically I'd say the biggest things are be careful about giving your opponent neutral back. You want to try and keep your opponent in disadvantage state for as long as you can. What were the other big points we touched on? Just making sure not to get hit by, like, quote-unquote the free stuff when playing against zoners. Force them to take the first move. And try to be very aware of the space that you're creating as well as the space that they're giving up to you by being afraid of your kind of like hitboxes. And then I'd say the biggest thing is just to work on punish game and killing in other ways that aren't up tilt Shoryu. It'll make your up tilt Shoryus better just by forcing your opponent to think about other options. The one that I've had the most success with recently is just like falling Nair Shoryu. I think I get more kills with that than I do with like Nair down air or up tilt Shoryu. I think it's really, really good and really underrated.
Alright.
But yeah. I think that's all I've got for you. I had this all recorded, so I'm going to throw this up on YouTube in the next few days so you don't have to try and like remember everything.
Okay, thanks.
And yeah, hopefully that helped even a tiny bit.
Yeah, I'll try to work all this into my play.
Awesome.
Just get better. I did one good thing over the weekend, but I don't want to stop at just one good thing.
Yeah, of course. Of course. All right.
We'll see where we go from there.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right. You take it easy. Enjoy the food.
All right. I will. All right.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.